Relax, relax.
And as they did eat, Jesus took bread, and he blessed it, and he broke it, and he gave it to them, and said, "Take, eat, this is my body." And he took the cup, and when he had given thanks, he gave it to them, and they all drank of it. And he said unto them, "This is my blood of the new covenant, which is shed for many. Truly I say unto you, I will drink no more of the fruit of the vine until that day that I drink it new in the kingdom of God." And when they had sung a hymn, they went out into the Mount of Olives. And Jesus said unto them, "All of you shall be offended because of me this night. For it is written, I will strike the shepherd, and the sheep shall be scattered. But after that I am risen, I will go before you into Galilee." But Peter said unto him, "Although all shall be offended, yet I will not." And Jesus said unto him, "Truly I say unto you, that this day, even in this night, before the rooster crows twice, you shall deny me 3 times." But he spoke the more vehemently, "If I should die with you, I will not deny you in any way." Likewise also said they all. And they came to a place which was named Gethsemane. And he said to his disciples, "You sit here, while I shall pray." And he took with him Peter and James and John, and began to be sore amazed, and to be very heavy. And he said unto them, "My soul is exceeding sorrowful unto death. You wait here and watch." And he went forward a little, and fell on the ground, and prayed that, if it were possible, that the hour might pass from him. And he said, "Abba, Father, all things are possible for you. Take away this cup from me. Nevertheless, not as I will, but as you will." And he came and he found them sleeping. And he said unto Peter, "Simon, you sleep? Could you not watch with me 1 hour? Watch ye and pray, lest you enter into temptation. The spirit truly is ready, but the flesh is weak." And again he went away and prayed, and spoke the same words. And when he returned, he found them asleep again, for their eyes were heavy. Neither did they know what to answer him. And he came the 3rd time, and said unto them, "Sleep on now, and take your rest. It is enough. Behold, it is enough. The hour has come. Behold, the Son of Man is betrayed into the hands of sinners. Rise up, let us go. Lo, he that does betray me is at hand." And immediately, while he yet spoke, came Judas, one of the 12, and with him great crowds with swords and clubs from the chief priests and the scribes and the elders. And he that betrayed him had given them a sign, saying, "Whosoever I shall kiss, that same is he. Take him and lead him away safely." And as soon as he was come, he went right away to him, and said, "Master, Master," and kissed him. And they laid their hands on him, and took him.
Father, bless these words. Have mercy.
And they laid their hands on him, and took him. And one of them that stood by drew a sword, and struck a servant of the high priest, and cut off his ear. And Jesus answered and said unto them, "Have you come out as against a thief, with swords and clubs to take me? I was daily with you in the temple teaching, and you took me not. But the scriptures must be fulfilled. And they all forsook him and ran. And there followed him a certain young man with a linen cloth cast about his naked body. And the young men laid hold on him. And he left the linen cloth and fled from them naked. Then they led Jesus away to the high priest. And with him were assembled all the chief priests and the elders and the scribes. And Peter followed him afar off, even into the palace of the high priest. And he sat with the servants and warmed himself at the fire. And the chief priests and all the council sought for witness against Jesus to put him to death, and found none, for many bare false testimony against him. But their witness agreed not together. And there arose certain that bare false witness against him, saying, we heard him say, I will destroy this temple that is made with hands, and within 3 days I will build another made without hands. But neither did their testimony agree together. And the high priest stood up in the midst and asked Jesus, saying, do you answer nothing? What it is these testify against you? But he held his peace and answered nothing. Again the high priest asked him and said unto him, are you the Christ, the Son of the Blessed? And Jesus said, I am. And you shall see the Son of Man sitting on the right hand of power and coming in the clouds of heaven. Then the high priest tore his clothing and said, what further need do we have of witnesses? You've heard the blasphemy. What think ye? And they all condemned him to be guilty of death. And some began to spit on him, and to cover his face, and to buffet him, and to say unto him, prophesy. And the servants did strike him with the palms of their hands. And as Peter was beneath in the palace, there came one of the little girls of the high priest. And when she saw Peter warming himself, she looked upon him and said, and you also were with Jesus of Nazareth. But he denied, saying, I know not, neither understand I what you say. And he went out into the porch, and the rooster crowed. And the little girl saw him again, and began to say to them that stood by, this is one of them. And he denied it again. And a little after, those that stood by said again to Peter, surely you are one of them, for you are a Galilean, and your speech betrays you. And he began to curse and to swear, saying, I know not this man of whom you speak. And the second time the rooster crowed, and Peter called to mind the word that Jesus spoke unto him, before the rooster crows twice, you shall deny me 3 times. And when he thought on this, he wept. And right away in the morning, the chief priests held a council. Father, bless these words. Have mercy on the people. Send your spirit to these crowds. Let them have life. Forgive them, Father. Have mercy. Let the blood of your Son cover them. And right away in the morning, the chief priests held a council with the elders and the scribes and the whole council. And they bound Jesus and carried him away and delivered him unto Pilate. And Pilate asked him, are you the king of the Jews? And he answering said unto him, thou sayest it. But the chief priest accused him of many things. But he answered nothing. And the chief priest accused him of many things. But he answered nothing. And Pilate asked him again, saying, do you answer nothing? Do you answer nothing? Behold, how many things they testify against you. But Jesus yet answered nothing, so that Pilate marveled. Now at the feast, he released unto them one prisoner, whomsoever they desired. And there was one named Barabbas, which lay bound with them, that had made insurrection with them, who had committed murder in the insurrection. And the crowds cried aloud, began to desire him to do as he had ever done unto them. But Pilate answered him, saying, Will ye that I release unto you the King of the Jews? For he knew that the chief priests had delivered him because of envy. But the chief priests moved the people that they should rather release Barabbas unto them. And Pilate answered and said again unto them, What will ye that I shall do with him whom you call the King of the Jews? And they cried out again, Crucify him. Then Pilate said unto them, Why? What evil has he done? And they cried out the more exceedingly, Crucify him. And so Pilate, wanting to content the people, released Barabbas unto them, and delivered Jesus, when he had scourged him, to be crucified. And the soldiers led him away into the hall, called the Praetorium, and they called together the whole band, and they clothed him with purple, and twisted a crown of thorns, and put it upon his head, and began to salute him, Hail, King of the Jews! And they struck him on the head with the reed, and did spit upon him, and bowing their knees, worshipped him. And when they had mocked him, they took off the purple from him, and put his own clothing on him, and led him out to crucify him. And they compelled one Simon, a Cyrenian who passed by coming out of the country, the father of Alexander and Rufus, to bear his cross. And they brought him on to the place, Golgotha, which is being interpreted, the place of a skull. And they gave him to drink wine mixed with myrrh, but he received it not. And when they had crucified him, they divided his clothing, casting lots upon them, what every man should take. And it was the third hour, and they crucified him. And the superscription of his accusation was written over, the King of the Jews. And with him they crucified two thieves, the one in his right hand and the other on his left. And the scripture was fulfilled, which says, And he was numbered with the transgressors. And those that passed by railed on him. Those that passed by railed on him, wagging their heads and saying, Ah, you that destroy the temple and build it in 3 days, save yourself and come down from the cross. Likewise also the chief priests, mocking, said among themselves with the scribes, He saved others, himself he cannot save. Let Christ, the King of Israel, descend now from the cross, that we may see and believe. And those that were crucified with him mocked him. And when the 6th hour was come, there was darkness over the whole land unto the 9th hour. And about the 9th hour, Jesus cried with a loud voice, Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani, which is being interpreted, my God, why have you forsaken me? And some of them that stood by when they heard it said, Behold, he calls for Elijah. And one ran and filled a sponge full of vinegar and put it on a reed and gave him the drink, saying, "Leave alone. Let us see whether Elijah will come and take him down." And Jesus cried with a loud voice and gave up the spirit, and the curtain of the temple was torn in two from the top to the bottom. And when the guard which stood over against him saw that he so cried out and gave up the spirit, he said, "Truly, this man was the Son of God." When the Sabbath was past, Mary Magdalene and Mary, the mother of James and Salome, brought sweet spices that they might come and anoint him. And very early in the morning, in the first day of the week, they came to the tomb at the rising of the sun, and they said among themselves, "Who shall roll away the stone from the door of the tomb?" And when they looked, they saw that the stone was rolled away already, for it was very great. And entering into the tomb, they saw a young man sitting on the right side, clothed in a long white garment, and they were terrified. And he said unto them, "Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid. You search for Jesus of Nazareth, which was crucified. He is not here. He is risen. Behold the place where they laid him. But go your way and tell his disciples and Peter that he goes before you into Galilee, and there you shall see him, as he said unto you."